All right, we are back. Now, first of all, I want to tip my hat to all the fighters tonight. I'm very proud of the ladies. They went after it. They realized that they were the first fighters on the cards and that they had to make a statement. They had to open this fight up with maximum effort and energy. I felt like they were all tenacious. And the first two fights, they was really looking for blood. They was out for blood. They was out for us. But we all said this before the fight. And whether I get predictions right or wrong, I really don't care as long as we get fun fights. We don't feel like we're wasting our money. I just want to feel like this is a worthy investment. I've been subscribed to ESPN for years now. They've been taking my money. So I was satisfied tonight, most definitely. Now, the card kicked off with Carly Judas. Now, boy, was I wrong about this. But I said that this was a blind pick because I hadn't watched film on her opponent, and that was a huge mistake. Now, in this fight in particular, I have to highlight something. Y'all already know what it's going to be. But seriously, don't y'all think she kept her head upright on center line with no foot movement or guard, no defense at all? Don't y'all think she did that excessively? Let's just, as always, try to be as realistic as possible. I thought that her lack of defense, even for women, was extreme. That girl didn't even take a step back. She didn't try to lean back. She was not, and this was repeatedly, she was not trying to put her guard up, her hands up. Shots were coming. She would just stand there. Her head, no upper body movement, no nothing. No nothing. It was like she planned on eating shots. That's what it looked like. That's the impression I get as I watched. Like, okay, she must be one of those. Which, again, huge mistake on my part for not looking this up first. Had I saw that, I would have had a heart attack like I did watching the fight. What are you doing? Wow. Why would y'all sign a fighter like... You shouldn't sign fighters like this. At least sign fighters that are defensively sound. To some extent. The girl, go back and watch it, was not moving nothing. She wasn't taking a step back. She would hardly even brace herself to absorb the shot. It's like she fought as if she knew she was going to get hit. And, hey, that's part of the game to get hit. No. These trainers, and I've been saying this for years, I feel like these trainers are going in there and just teaching them offense. They do not try to marry their offense with defense. After you throw this, do this to protect yourself. I don't sense that these girls are being taught that. I don't know about y'all, but that was excessive. Go back and watch that fight. Go back and watch. Keep your eye on the newcomer. Her lack of defense is poor by WMMA standards. By WMMA standards. She got to do something about that. Now think about it. Me being blunt and honest could protect her, could keep her safe, opposed to continuing to tell her you're doing great and you're awesome. See, that's what people like to hear. That's what they want people like me to say. She's awesome. She could do well. Offer no criticism. Oh, she just needs to go after it more. No criticism. No. Fighting is as real as it gets. So you need people around you to be as real as it gets. That lack of defense is unacceptable on a professional level. Let's be as strict with them as we are with men. If I was talking about men, nobody would have a problem. So I don't want to hear it. Men get this type of criticism all the time. That lack of defense is unacceptable on a professional level. UFC is supposed to be the highest level of mixed martial arts. At least put your hands up. You're flipping hands up. At least back up or do something. Move your head. There was no type of defense at all when I'm saying no defense. Head movement, nothing. On top of that, it's dangerous. So she was stopped. She was KO'd. Kicked in the head. She was getting punched in the head. I thought Judas looked good. I was very satisfied. First round stoppage. Very satisfied with this fight. Okay? Like, wow. Just leave your head up there, why don't you? Don't move it. Don't even, not even defense. Shame on her corner, man. There's no way she's been trained to defend herself. There's no way. We see some remnants of her trying to protect herself at all times. If they were doing this in training, shame on her corner. At the end of the day, she has a brain. And I have to give her the benefit of the doubt that it works. And had she been trained, she would have been protecting herself better. Shame on her corner. That was sort of disappointing to watch because of that. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to see fighters go in there and stick their chin out, get clobbered and flatlined. Defend yourself. Now, this next fight, I picked Jose Nunes, but Nunes, as y'all saw, has a low fight IQ. But even with that, she was clobbering Priscilla. Anybody could have won this, but it looks to me like Priscilla clearly can take a shot better than Nunes. Have we seen Priscilla hurt yet? I mentioned this years ago, that I've never seen Priscilla really hurt. Even against Shevchenko, she dipped. I think she lost her legs a little bit, started to back up. She was never really hurt with punches. She has a chin that's out of this world. And she took Nunes shots. Nunes doing the same thing over and over. Block, counter. Block, counter. With the same punch. Okay? Same guard, block, counter, same process, same style. She's doing the same thing over and over. That's a low fight IQ. When you don't mix up what you're doing, block, throw a looping counter with her right hand, and just do it over and over, don't ever do that. She tried to mix it up with leg kicks. She should have mixed it up more. But I'm not disappointed with how this fight turned out. I gave Priscilla props before the fight started, and that's why. That's unusual power. She just moved up from flyweight. She's always fought at flyweight. And she's knocking out bantamweights at bantamweight. One of which came from 145, but has also fought at flyweight. I still believe Priscilla has unusual power. Now, that said, Priscilla has not fought a real bantamweight yet. She has not fought a natural bantamweight. Lipski was her other fight at bantamweight. And Lipski is not a bantamweight. I want to see how Priscilla does against real bantamweights. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. For whatever reason, she keeps jumping back and forth between bantamweight and flyweight. I'd like to see her settle at bantamweight. I don't think, it looks like she does better at bantamweight. But no matter what division, you see she has no defense. Whatever Nunes threw, it was going to land on Priscilla. She fights with her hands down. Craziest thing I ever seen. She's similar to the other girl in how she fights as if she plans on just eating shots. I think this is a true, like a conscious thing. That they're conscious of it. Did they look at it? Hey, it's just part of the game. Get hit. No. We'll see if this will have any long-term effects on some of these fighters. Another one is like Andrade. Some of these fighters have taken a lot of punishment. Remember, Jasmine Jasudavicius beat on Priscilla as well. Miranda Maverick beat on her as well. Repeated shots to the head. Shevchenko, repeated shots to the head. She even took repeated shots in this fight, even though she won. It's crazy, but, we'll see if it has long-term effects. We see a lot of boxers retire, and they have very poor speech. They're clearly suffering from CTE. These fighters who use no defense, just look at her hands. This is literally how she fights. At least Joanne was trying to protect herself. She was trying her best utilizing that guard. It just wasn't working for her. Right? Wait a minute. Okay. Now, I didn't even get images from the other fight. I'm about to get them right now. Because I changed my pick at the last minute. Some of you think that I at least got one fight right. No. I got all three wrong because at the last minute, like right before the fight started, I changed my pick and picked Luciano. But I think that most of you understand why I changed my pick. She is not bad. Very sneaky uppercuts. She has a very sneaky short range game. Offensive arsenal up close with those uppercuts. It's like little leaping uppercuts. And she has very good accuracy with them. Very good accuracy with them. Now, at the end of the fight, both fighters raised their hand as if they both felt that they won the fight. I would imagine that some fans are also divided on who they thought won the fight. Some people may have thought Luciano won rounds 1 and round 3. I don't have a problem with the decision. Because look, it's really hard for fighters to stay undefeated. You know, it's next to impossible for them to stay undefeated. And losses for a lot of girls seems to be exactly what they need. If you're not super high advanced, if you're not head and shoulders above the competition, a loss might do you some good. Don't you think it's done Sam Hughes some good, the losses that she has had? Now, y'all saw Sam kept going for those takedowns because striking wasn't really working out for her. And that's why I changed my pick. I'm like, wow, this girl's a good striker. The Luciano chick, I'm like, wow, this girl's a really good striker. If this fight stays standing, she's going to have an advantage over Sam Hughes. But like I also thought, Sam Hughes went for takedowns, got him, and was able to win the fight, I think, just based on her performance in the second round, being able to get her down and beating on her. But the Luciano chick gassed out. I thought they both were tired in the third round. But Luciano, I thought, was more effective on the feet. She's more effective on the feet in both rounds 1 and round 3, even though they were both tired. That said, Sam was still able to get off and land some shots. But that was a very good fight. That was a very good fight. Very good style matchup. And tenacity was through the roof. Even though there was no stoppage, they were both seemed like they were going for it. They was going for it. Before it started, it seemed like Luciano knew what she was up against. She did not underestimate Sam Hughes like most opponents do. And let's be honest, Sam Hughes could probably beat up on anybody in the division. On a given night, okay, I know it's not on anybody's radar, but picture Sam in there against Weili Zhang. While most of us would take Weili, don't you think Sam would have her moments? She'd have her moments. I just think Sam is the type of fighter that's terrible for anybody. Similar to Angela Hill. I know I get on Angela Hill with her raggedy punches. But Angela Hill can be a hard fight for anybody. I could see that. It wouldn't surprise me, no matter who you put her in there with. Like I said, I think most of these fighters are sort of on the same level. It's just that some fighters have above average something, while the other fighters don't. Most of these fighters are like mediocre at everything. Wrestling, grappling, boxing, right hand, left hook. Luciano need to be careful too, throwing at combinations, finishing her combinations with left hooks and throwing herself out of position. She got to chill out on that. Use better form where you're not throwing yourself out of position when you're in a combination with a left hook. She shouldn't be doing that, especially not in MMA. That's dangerous. That's dangerous. And she was doing that even while she was tired. So she strikes me as sort of green. Let me see. Does she have a... She strikes me as sort of green, Luciano. I'm trying to see how old is she? Wait a minute here. Where is she? Okay, she does not have a Wikipedia. And I hate going to Shirt Dog. Wait a minute. Okay, she's 25. So plenty of time. She could be younger, but plenty of time to make improvements. I feel like if she works on that, she has very sneaky boxing. Her hands, those, it's not just the uppercuts. She got good hands. And she throw a lot of good kicks. She has a unique style that I dig. Put it like that. But Sam Hughes, tough as nails, was able to deal with her. Good night of fights from this seat. Hughes once again takes out an up and comer, the up and comer crusher, Sam Hughes. She confirms my theory that the UFC likes to give everybody losses. They don't want anybody coming there undefeated because it gives them more leverage. It gives them more leverage. Even if a fighter makes it up and becomes a dominant champion, they like for those fighters to have taken losses along the way. That's what I personally believe. And they use Sam Hughes as one of those fighters to give fighters. And they use Angela Hill as one of those fighters too. Some of those fights that they matched up with Angela Hill, they shouldn't have done. They were just trying to give those fighters some losses. So, coming into the UFC, newcomers got to be mindful of that. You know, I wish there were more dominant fighters. I'm always looking for dominant fighters. Do y'all see we just lost one or another one tonight? Judas stopped an undefeated fighter. It's just difficult for fighters to be undefeated and stay undefeated as they make it up to fight for the strap. Manon has been able to do it, but I personally believe the time that she's had off is going to affect her. Y'all remember how long Tatiana Suarez was off? Do you think the time off affected her? I do. Weili was active, especially as a champion. She was active. Something else I forgot to mention, Catlin had not fought in a very long time as well. When she fought Macy Barber, it was like 2 years she had been off. She hadn't fought in like 2 years, something like that. So MMA, I think, is one of those sports where you have to stay active to stay at your best. You have to stay active to stay at your best. Remember how there have been several boxers, especially back in the day, who would have multiple fights. They'd fight every weekend. Some of them more often than that. They fight sometimes day after day after day to stay sharp and stay on their point. But Sam Hughes, another thing about her, she is in her prime. She is in her prime. Let me see if I can pull up her record here. And a lot of people think she's young, but Sam is 32 years old. And she turned pro 2019 and quite a bit of UFC experience. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This was her 10th UFC bout. Okay. She's defeated Victoria Dudakova. Dudakova hasn't done much. Yasmin Haurigi hasn't done much. Jacqueline Amorim, she defeated Jacqueline. Now, Jacqueline is looking good right now. Always look at how good are the fighters doing who you defeated already. You know, when the fighter who you defeated go on to do well, that makes you look better. Jacqueline Amorim is doing well. Her name rings bells already because her ground game is just that formidable. I believe she is more likely to stop you than any of the other females in this division, Jacqueline Amorim. So that's a strong win for, and that's the thing. Sam Hughes got strong wins. That's a strong victory for her. Pierre Rodriguez, she lost, wasn't stopped. She defeated Elise Reed. Elise Reed's been cut. Stella Nunes, not doing much. Sam lost to Luana Pinheiro. Pinheiro's not doing much. Loma Lookboonmee, still a solid fighter. Tisha, yeah, Tisha, she dealt with Sam handily. That was a scary, kind of a scary fight there, a performance from Tisha. When Tisha wants to, she tweak out. She can be hard to deal with. Okay, and that was her UFC debut. That was what a debut. What a debut. She debuted in the UFC and got blew out by Tisha Torres. Go back and watch that fight. It says TKO doctor stoppage. Man, Tisha act like she was trying to kill Sam. She was fighting like she was trying to kill Sam. I felt sorry for Sam after that fight. I'm like, what? Tisha, you did not have to do all that. And, you would think that snatched all her confidence out. But no, she's used as like a special weapons, some special weapon tool by the UFC. Priscilla, it's probably worth taking a gander at her record. I think UFC wants, hopefully, they'll try to talk her into staying at bantamweight. There's no life at bantamweight. Now, do you think Priscilla would be one of the most interesting bantamweights? Easily. Could you picture Priscilla in there against Holly Holm? She, for me, would instantly be the most interesting bantamweight. That division is doing that bad. And no disrespect to Priscilla. But hopefully they talk her into staying at bantamweight, and she does stay at bantamweight. Because I'd like to see how she does in that division. Very unusual stuff. So she got beat up bad by Jasmine and Miranda. She got beat up by Jillian. Jillian was sort of putting the paws on her too. Luana Carolina. Did she take a beating in that fight too? Molly McCann. Take a lot of beatings in her career. But look at that. She really hasn't had that many fights in the UFC. I think the UFC likes her. Y'all remember she tried to gouge Jillian's eyes out in this extremely blatant. It was so obvious that she did that on purpose. Stuck her fingers right in Jillian's eye socket. I thought the UFC was going to cut her after that. I'm like, oh, snap. She's tweaked out and then done something, same kind of stuff you do on the street. Like, Dana is not going to matchmakers UFC. But no, I think they like that about her. I think they looked at it and said, oh, man, she's a nasty chick. we got us a real killer on our hands. So I think most of the fighters, their dream, they would like to retire from the UFC, even if they go on to take loss after loss after loss. Obviously, the UFC pays the most. I can see them keeping Priscilla like forever, because Priscilla is going to fight like she's trying to kill you for the rest of her career. It's just that her and even I think Andrade, I think more so Andrade's downfall, her body is failing her. Her chin is failing her and stuff like that. Her IQ is failing her. But I think she's trying to still go out there. She's going autopilot. Killer mode. Go kill, kill, kill. Priscilla's the same way. Brazil is very good producing fighters like that, at least with the women. I can tip my hat to Brazil for that. They produce some straight up zombie autopilot killers. So, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I saw that post by Tisha. Sign, lock deal. Yeah, I'm interested to see who it is. Like I said, I don't think she's going to ever be a bit as good as she was back in the day. Because, she's a mom. And I just think that's hard. It's difficult for a lot of fighters. So that's it. That's my take. Good night of fights. Hope y'all enjoy. See you on the next live.